Today we're talking about even in my suffering. There's a line in the song that says, even when my breath is weak, I will sing. Even in my suffering, I will sing. I'm reminded of the verse, Psalm 34, verse 6, and it's in the Passion Translation. It says, when I had nothing, desperate and defeated, I cried out to the Lord and he heard me, bringing his miracle deliverance when I needed it most. You know, there are times in our lives when we face difficulties beyond what we even think we can get through. When we were talking over the last couple of days about the series of these events and these devotionals, one thing that my mind went back to in reading this scripture was just a couple days before my wife, Mary Beth, had passed away, and she had battled breast cancer. And we knew that it was coming down to the end. And you feel so desperate, so hopeless, and you're questioning everything. You're in a fog. And like you've talked about in those times of just going, God, how did we get here? Like, what is going on? And I remember one day that we had some family that had just come into town, and I had nothing. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the right words to say to the girls. I didn't have the right words to, I couldn't be Pastor Matt to anybody because I was just saying, God, I don't know what's going on. And the only thing that I could do was go to the piano that was in our house and just begin to play some songs and just begin to worship. And there are times you get so desperate that you realize that all you have is God. But one of the great things about that moment, that he comes in and he shows us that's all we need is him. What are some thoughts that you have about that part of the song, or when my breath is weak and in my suffering, what are some things that come to mind with you?
Well, just there were days when you feel really strong. You feel like you can get up and you can actually make it through the day or through that moment. And then there's other days where you are so weak. And just even taking a deep breath is painful. And it just all feels so unbearable at times. And I think no matter what, it was just, for me, I had a hard time singing afterwards. And that is one of the ways I connected with God for many years. And I think for me, that was very difficult at first. I just didn't know what to do, and I felt like he gave this song to me to say, just keep singing. Yeah. You'll see me, keep singing. And that's,
we can look at it, and sometimes we want, just as our society, it's nature for us to say, I want something and I want it now. Yeah. God, I'm in a desperate situation. Yeah. I need you to show up now. And we start becoming impatient when we don't see the answer and say, well, God's not there. Right. And maybe you're walking through, you might be in a situation in your family, maybe in your marriage. Maybe you're blending families and it's been a difficult road for you. And you feel like your back's against the wall saying, God, how does this translate? What do I do here? I'm desperate. The great thing about this scripture, it says, I cried out to the Lord, he heard me. When you reach out to God, when you cry out to him, he will hear you. And the thing that after it says, bringing his miracle deliverance when I need it most. Maybe your situation won't change today. Maybe it won't change tomorrow. But your perspective on that situation of saying, God, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to call out to you. Maybe you're in a divorce situation and remarriage, and you're facing some issues with your ex spouse, or however that parenting situation. I don't know what you're walking through today, but I do know that when you are desperate, when you need him the most, when you call out to him, he will answer. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to encourage you today. Maybe if you're in your car, you're at the office, at home, tonight just take a moment and say, God, thank you. Thank him in advance. Thank you for being there when I need it most. In my own strength, I feel like I have nothing and I'm completely defeated. But with you, I know that I will be victorious. I am more than a conqueror, and I will make it through this. Maybe you need to pray that over your own life. Maybe you need to pray it over your family and begin to seek God and say, God, I know that you're there for me, and I know that you will show up even in my suffering.